Hannah, a top-tier counter-terrorism agent with a flawless mission record, crouched low on the deserted road, her hands moving swiftly as she planted landmines. Her voice crackled over the walkie-talkie, calm and calculated. "We can't engage directly. I'm going to sneak in. I'll aim for the tires of the truck in front of it." Her partner, Yun-Song-yu, responded with a hint of skepticism. "Are you going to hold up the whole group until Giulio Parenti gets there?" Hannah's reply was sharp. "Nope." She laid out her plan with precision. Step 1, detonate the landmine when Mesa's vehicle appears. Step 2, sneak into the trailer under the cover of chaos. "I'm going the minimal force route," she explained. "Just enough to buy myself time to get into the trailer." Yun-Song sighed. "Okay. Just don't die, alright?" Hannah raised an eyebrow. "What?" Yun-Song chuckled nervously, his voice softening. "I'm starting to like you a lot more than I thought I would." Hannah rolled her eyes, her tone icy. Sure. You know, this is getting kinda old." Yun-Song laughed. "Ah, you're so mean. He. You should start getting ready." Yun-Song's voice cut through the silence, urgent and focused. "Target 1, 3 minutes until arrival. Target 2 spotted. 5 black SUVs, 25 minutes behind Target 1. Parenti is with them." Hannah acknowledged with a curt, "Copy that." The tension thickened as the countdown began. 1 minute to go. They're traveling at 70 kilometers per hour. 20 seconds left. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Hannah pressed the detonator. A deafening explosion erupted, engulfing the SUV in a fiery blaze. Yun-Song's voice came through the comms. Signs of life detected inside the trailer. Hannah scanned the area, her sharp eyes taking in every detail. With a deep breath, she slipped into the container, her rifle at the ready. The door creaked open, revealing 3 armed men. Hannah didn't hesitate. She fired 3 precise shots, taking them down before they could react. But as she reloaded, a 4th attacker emerged from the shadows, his blade glinting in the dim light. Yun-Song's voice shouted through the earpiece. "Behind you at 11 o'clock. Hannah spun around, but blood splattered across her face, obscuring her vision. She stumbled, her hand instinctively wiping the blood away. Yun-Song's voice came again, this time with a hint of relief. "Took care of that one for ya." Hannah glared at the fallen attacker, annoyed. "Yeah, thanks a lot." She dragged the corpses aside, clearing the area as she prepared for the next phase. "Where's Target 2?" she asked. Yun-Song's reply was tense. 5 minutes to go. It's moving at high speed. Large collision anticipated. Hannah's eyes widened. "What? Are they planning to crash into us?" Before she could process the situation, a loud voice echoed from inside the container. "God damn it. Who the hell siphoned off this stuff without even asking? Do you have any idea who this belongs to?" Hannah crept closer, her movements silent. The driver was yelling, his voice filled with panic and anger. "It's Giulio Parenti's. Parenti's, for God's sake. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would never have signed the contract." Hannah's mind raced. It sounds like he never wanted Parenti's goods. Something's off here. Yun-Song's voice interrupted her thoughts, urgent and sharp. "Collision imminent." The crash was deafening. The container shook violently, and something struck Hannah's head. Blood trickled down her face as she struggled to stay conscious. Yun-Song's voice was frantic. "Hannah! Are you all right?" But Hannah pulled out her earpiece, her focus razor-sharp. She loaded her handgun, her breathing steady despite the pain. Someone stepped into the container. Hannah, injured but defiant, aimed her gun at the intruder. "If you take one more step, I'll shoot," she threatened, her hand trembling slightly. The man didn't flinch. He stepped closer, grabbed the gun, and pressed it to his forehead. "Go ahead. I've been waiting to die." But before Hannah could react, something hard and heavy struck her from behind. Pain exploded at the base of her skull, and her vision blurred. She crumpled forward, her body going limp as darkness closed in around her. The man who had been standing before her moved swiftly, catching her as she fell. He lifted her effortlessly into his arms, his expression unreadable. One of his underlings stepped forward, eyeing Hannah's unconscious form with a mix of curiosity and unease. "What are you going to do with her?" The man's lips curled into a faint, sinister smile as he adjusted his grip on her. "Take her with us," he said calmly, his voice low and deliberate. "I need to see if she's useful." Hannah's vision blurred as she slowly regained consciousness. Her head throbbed, and her body felt heavy, weighed down by the tight ropes binding her to the chair. She blinked, her sharp instincts kicking in as she realized her predicament. Her eyes darted around the dimly lit room, taking in her surroundings. She was a prisoner, and her captors were close. She began to struggle against the ropes, testing their strength, when a smooth, mocking voice cut through the silence. "Looks like you've got quick reflexes," the man said, his tone dripping with amusement. Hannah's gaze snapped to him. He stood a few feet away, a cigarette dangling from his lips, his sharp features illuminated by the faint glow of the room. She recognized him instantly. "Giulio Parenti," she said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Capo of the Sicilian mafia." Parenti exhaled a plume of smoke, his eyes narrowing as he studied her. "And you are?" he asked, his voice calm but laced with danger. Hannah didn't flinch. "That's right. I was waiting for you." Parenti stepped closer, his movements deliberate. He leaned down, his face inches from hers. "Were you waiting for me inside that trailer?" Hannah met his gaze without hesitation. "That's right." Parenti's lips curled into a smirk. "Why?" Hannah's grin was sly, almost playful. "Before I answer that, take off your clothes." Parenti straightened, his eyebrows shooting up in surprise. "Excuse me?" Hannah's grin widened. "You don't expect me to leave the bathroom looking like this, do you? Look how filthy I am." Parenti chuckled, but there was no warmth in it. He grabbed her chin, his grip firm but not painful, and leaned in close. His thumb brushed against her lips, his touch unsettlingly intimate. "Who said you'd be leaving here alive?" he murmured, his voice low and dangerous. "Was that some kind of attempt to flirt with me?" Hannah's expression didn't waver. "As if," she replied, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "But I guarantee you, you're going to end up needing me." Parenti's smirk deepened. "Me? Need you?" He pulled his hand away, but his eyes remained locked on hers. Suddenly, he thrust 2 fingers into his mouth, wetting them, and before Hannah could react, he pressed them against her tongue. Hannah recoiled, her eyes flashing with anger. "What the hell are you?" Parenti cut her off, his voice firm. "Wider." Hannah glared at him, her jaw tightening, but Parenti wasn't done. He leaned in, pressing his legs between hers in an uncomfortably intimate manner. "If that's what you want, you'd better get used to things like this. Don't you think?" Hannah's face flushed, but her voice remained steady. "You misunderstood what I..." Before she could finish, the door burst open, and a white-haired man stormed in. "Giulio," he shouted, his voice filled with disbelief. Hannah recognized him, Lorenzo, the man who had been standing behind Parenti in the container. He looked furious, his eyes darting between Hannah and Parenti. "What are you doing?" Lorenzo demanded. "I thought you were planning to kill her. What are you waiting for?" Parenti straightened, his expression calm but his eyes sharp. "I was going to kill her," he said casually. "After all, she said she came to kill me. But she kept coming on to me, and before I knew it, I was fooling around with her." Lorenzo's eyes widened. "Again? Don't tell me you..." Parenti shot him a glare, and Lorenzo immediately fell silent, though his frustration was palpable. Lorenzo took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. "I take that back. I was just worried." Hannah's mind raced. "Again? What does he mean by that?" She thought. I don't understand much Italian, but it feels like there's something strange going on. I need to find an opening, and fast. Lorenzo stepped forward, his hand moving to his suit. He pulled out a gun and aimed it at Hannah. Anyway, I'll take over from here, he said coldly. I'll make a clean job of it. Parenti raised a hand, his voice firm. No. You go out and report yesterday's incident. Before he could finish, a gunshot rang out. The bullet hit the ceiling, and chaos erupted. Hannah had already cut the ropes binding her hands. In one swift motion, she grabbed Lorenzo, wrapping the rope around his neck and pressing the gun to his temple. Her movements were fluid, her training evident. Don't even think about coming closer, she warned, her voice cold and commanding. Parenti's smirk returned, though there was a glint of admiration in his eyes. Looks like we did a bad job of tying you up. Hannah tightened her grip on Lorenzo. That wouldn't have made a difference. I was determined to track you down, she said, her voice unwavering. The sound of footsteps echoed as more underlings rushed into the room, drawn by the gunshot. Hannah's eyes darted to the door, but she didn't falter. And nothing's going to stop me from doing what I came here for, she added, her tone fierce. Parenti tilted his head, his smirk widening. You were looking for me? Hannah's lips curled into a grin. You still don't know? You fell for my plan. I'm the one who brought you into this. The underlings hesitated, their eyes flickering between Hannah and Parenti. One of them, a man with glasses named Romano, spoke up. Giulio. Parenti waved a hand, silencing him. His gaze never left Hannah. So, what is it that you want from me? He asked, his voice calm but intrigued. Hannah's grip on Lorenzo tightened as she met Parenti's gaze. I want you to help me, she said. If you do, I'll catch the bastard who's been impersonating you. Parenti's smirk turned into a full-blown grin. Now that's an offer I can't refuse. Giulio Parenti leaned back in his chair, his expression a mix of amusement and intrigue as he studied Hannah. So you're going to catch the guy who's been impersonating me, he said, his voice smooth but laced with skepticism. Seems a bit late for that. Those guys from Mesa were killed by a sniper at the scene. I didn't even get a chance to ask them any questions like I wanted. Hannah's eyes burned with determination as she shouted, My brother has been tracking your imposter. If you help me, we'll be able to find whoever's behind all this. Giulio raised an eyebrow, his interest piqued. Your brother? Hannah nodded, her voice steady despite the tension in the room. There's a rumor going around that you ordered a hit on a Korean intelligence service agent who just so happens to be my brother. Giulio's smirk returned, cold and calculating. If that's the case, then wouldn't that mean he's already dead? Hannah's confidence didn't waver. No, he's still alive. That's why I came to find you. I needed to be sure. Giulio's eyes narrowed. To confirm if I killed him? Hannah shook her head. No. To confirm that you didn't. Giulio leaned forward, his gaze piercing. He must be very dear to you. Hannah's jaw tightened as she thought, I planned all this to get Parenti's attention. Out loud, she said, what do you say? Her mind raced. If I can get him to think I'm useful, this operation will have been a success. Giulio stood, his movements deliberate. He began unbuttoning his shirt, his smirk never fading. First, he stripped off his shirt, revealing a toned torso. Hannah's eyes flickered with surprise, but she didn't respond. Giulio turned to Romano, the man with glasses, and said, Bring it to me, Romano. And tossed his shirt aside. This is what you wanted, isn't it? Romano nodded and quickly returned with a glass of wine. He offered it to Hannah, his expression unreadable. Here. Take this and let Lorenzo go. Hannah eyed the glass suspiciously. Do you really expect me to just drink that? Giulio chuckled, his half-naked form leaning casually against the table. You're the one who ordered me to strip, and you won't even trust me this much? You must be thirsty. Hannah hesitated, her mind racing. No doubt they've spiked it with something. I have no idea if it's poisoned or drugged, but I get the feeling they're not going to try to kill me. I'll have to risk it. With a swift motion, she kicked Lorenzo away, releasing him from her hold. She snatched the glass from Romano's hand, her eyes never leaving Giulio's. Giulio's smirk widened as he watched her. Hannah raised the glass to her lips and drank the wine in one go, her eyes locked on his. As the last drop disappeared, her vision began to blur. It's a bit strong, she thought, her body swaying. Before she could collapse, Giulio stepped forward and caught her, his arms wrapping around her as she fell unconscious. He glanced at Romano. The doctor? Romano checked his watch. Set to arrive in 30 minutes. Giulio nodded, his gaze returning to Hannah's unconscious form. He gently brushed a strand of hair from her face, his touch almost tender. Make sure she gets treated, he said, his voice low and commanding. Every last inch of her. His hand lingered for a moment, sliding down her neck as he spoke, his expression unreadable. The room fell silent, the tension thick as Giulio's underlings exchanged uneasy glances.